Wabash, the gentleman's rule. You gotta believe in that stuff. The Wabash always fight.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Don Morel Show, your chance to hear the thoughts and comments of the head football coach of the Little Giant program. And Coach, we get to gather once again on a Wednesday afternoon after a win, a nice 35-21 victory over Oberlin. I know it wasn't a perfect game by any stretch of the imagination, but what were your thoughts after you got a chance to get back, kind of review it on film, and really just take a look at what your team did Saturday?
Well, just because I'm a football coach, we made some glaring mistakes. We weren't catching punts. We turned it over twice. We got beat deep twice. Those jump out immediately. On the flip side, this team is what it is, and every game is going to be a challenge. It was great for them to figure out a way to win, and we move on.
In the ball game, Wabash rushed for 3 touchdowns. You had a nice touchdown to open the ball game. Weston Murphy threw a 6-yard pass, I believe, to Dylan Burrish. Weston also had a couple of really key passes on a massive 17-play, 76-yard drive that closed out the game with kind of the insurance touchdown. He threw one pass that we're going to see on the highlights in just a minute to Rashawn Jones crossing the 50-yard line, and then had a big pass to Ivan Martinez at tight end that also kept that drive alive. Both of those were first down passes. Not massive numbers passing for Weston and the receiving corps, but as you mentioned the other day, those are 3 sophomores that are really stepping up and playing some key, providing some key moments for this football team.
They really are, and we forget too that Ike James and Isaac Avant are sophomores also. But Western was pretty efficient. We felt like he made a couple of bad decisions, but he made a bunch of good ones, and we continue to try to evolve at quarterback and improve.
Ike James finished the day with 29 carries for 206 yards. He became the 11th player in Wabash College history to rush for more than 1,000 yards in a season. Now at 1,031, he had the longest play from scrimmage of the season with a 78-yard run. Not to be outdone, Isaac Avant topped 100 yards, 136 yards for the game. He scored a touchdown. Ike James had 2 touchdowns. And Isaac almost had the longest run from scrimmage. He went for 77 yards to set up a touchdown. The running game has just been continued to get better and better and stronger every single week.
It does. It starts up front. That group is playing well. The offensive line, and we constantly mention, Pinola and Burrish, and you're hearing Ivan Martinez's name more and more. They're doing a great job too.
Defensively, got off to a little bit of a rocky start, sort of a repeat of what happened at Worcester. Second play from scrimmage. Oberlin went over the top, got a 77-yard touchdown pass to take a 7-0 lead. You tied it at 7-7 on the pass to Dylan Burrish, and then they came back and got a touchdown run of 28 yards from their quarterback, Zach Taylor. But then the defense really kind of settled in. You were able to get 6 sacks in the ball game, got a couple of big turnovers. What were your thoughts on the defensive play Saturday?
Well, a team is really confident in itself. Sometimes they're more confident than I am. But we were down 14-7, and Oberlin had the ball, actually. It could have gone up 21-7. Our guys hung in there. We've kind of seen this movie before. For some reason, we like a good, tight football game. But they battled back, and they got the job done, and that part of it is positive. If we play that way this week, we're gonna get beat.
I want to mention some individuals. Again, you had 3 turnovers on Saturday. First, you got a fumble forced by Leon Ivey that Ahmad Hill picked up. Then you had the big fumble. Henry Weber Hunt comes in on an uncontested on a sack, knocked the ball free. Luke Seniak picks it up and takes it 32 yards for the touchdown. And then late in the ball game, after a really athletic move by Brian Parks, he got cut by the running back, rolled, got back up, created a sack. 2 plays later, he closed out the game with the interception. Those turnovers really were key and real positives for your team Saturday. How important will that be to try and carry something like that over this week against Wittenberg?
Well, we need to try to create some turnovers, and we can't turn it over to win this football game. So it's really important when you talk about Ahmad Hill, Leon Ivy. We've got a young, those are both freshmen playing for us too. So it's scary playing the young guys because they're going to make some mistakes, but in the long run, I think that's going to pay off for us. And they are creating turnovers, the young guys are.
And that's very important because we saw what Wittenberg was able to do with turnovers this past week. The Tigers come into Hallett Little Giant Stadium Saturday, coming off of a 52-6 win down at DePaul last weekend. And they really did it in all ways. Their defense was tremendous again. Their offense put some points on the board. But they got points out of their defense and got points on special teams. How important is it to keep that down on Saturday when they play your football team?
Well, certainly Wittenberg's the best football team we're going to see all year, and they're good in all three phases. You don't want them to get going, because when they do, the next thing you know, you're down 28-0, or you get into the situation DePaul was, and you're down 52-3. You don't want that.
Yeah, the late field goal wasn't quite worth 50 for them, so,
I'm going to do
ended
it.
up being a 52-6 ball game.
Sure.
The Tigers come in as the #1 team in the conference, a game ahead of you, but your football team has put itself in a position where it still controls its destiny. A key game, obviously, this weekend puts you, with a win over Wittenberg, puts Wabash back in a tie for first place, and has control of that portion of the tiebreaker with 2 big games left with Allegheny and, of course, DePaul at the end of the season.
Sure. No, we do control our own destiny. The kids know it, and it's not the effort. We've had incredible effort every game. It's the mistakes, and whether it's a young guy, an old guy, whoever, everybody's taken a turn at making a big mental mistake, basically in every game we've had except Denison. So we need to play as well as we can play.
This is a complete Wittenberg team that rolls in here on Saturday. They're #1 in the conference in scoring offense, averaging 41 points a game. #1 in the conference in scoring defense, and #7 in the nation, holding opponents to 10.7 points per game. And their rush defense is 3rd in the conference, and their total defense is 2nd in the conference. So they're really a complete package. What are the keys for your football team to try and pull out a win against Wittenberg Saturday?
Clearly on defense, we need to align and assign properly and play perfect. On offense, we can't turn it over, and then we're going to have to hit some big plays. We got them last week. We had 2, 75-yard runs or whatever the numbers were, and then try to win somehow. They're good, and special teams are excellent too, so it's a real challenge.
You've talked on the show before about how important maintaining possession of the football is and grinding out some long drives. We saw that perfectly last week against Oberlin. My kind of hidden stat for the week: 13 times this season, your football team has possessed the ball on drives of 10 plays or more. 8 times they've turned those into touchdowns and added 1 field goal. I mean, again, perfect example. You had 2 drives Saturday. The opening drive was over 10 plays and capped by the Dylan Burrish touchdown reception. And then the final play was that 17-play, 76-yard, 9-minute, 41-second drive. Will that be another important factor Saturday? Do you have to keep the ball? And what does that do? That obviously it helps your defense get a little bit of a break, but it also, I would think, puts their defense on the field and puts a lot of pressure on their defense to try and get off.
It does. I think Wittenberg presents they're a very explosive defense, and it is going to be difficult to hold the ball for 9, 10, 11 plays. Obviously, we're going to try and do it, but we're going to have to figure out a way to, you don't want the Wittenberg offense on the field the whole game either.
Kickoff is at 1 o'clock at Hallett Little Giant Stadium right here. We will have the action for you beginning at about 12:40 with this very show, the Don Morel Show. And then at some point, Jim Amadon and Steve Hoffman will be on the air bringing you the game as the announcers. They have meetings with the Board of Trustees Saturday afternoon that should run them a little past 1 o'clock, but they'll be up in the booth just as soon as possible, bringing you all the action. Of course, you can also hear their call on 91.3 FM, WNDY, Crawfordsville, again, beginning at about 12:40. Tickets are available at ticketor.com/Wabash. That's TICKETOR.com/Wabash. You can purchase tickets for the regular season home finale against Wittenberg this Saturday. You can also get your tickets for the 124th Monon Bell Classic at that same website location. And of course, we'll have all the post-game coverage on the Wabash College website. Coach, best of luck, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Brent.
And a special thanks to Josh Mundell and Jackson Albrecht, who are back in the trailer, throwing all the switches this afternoon. They're handling the production. For Adam Phipps, who's on vacation this week. Adam does the normal excellent job, along with Christian Wirtz, producing this show. And we thank you, our viewers, for being a little patient with us as we had some technical problems on Wednesday producing the show. But thanks to Josh and Jackson for stepping in today on Thursday afternoon to help us bring the show to you. And you have been watching the Don Morel Show, your chance to hear the thoughts and comments of the head coach of the Little Giant program. We'll talk to you next week.
Wabash, the gentleman's rule. You gotta believe in that stuff. The Wabash always fight.